Going live. All right, and we are live. Welcome to episode 23 of Narrations and Lamentations with Mittierim and the boys. I am, as always, Mittierim, and with me are the boys, Skip and Michael.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I missed
Well-
y'all.
Yes, we finally got Skip to stop weeping in the closet. So he is...
It was on the street
Come
corner,
out.
not the closet. Okay.
Okay, so
right.
he's weeping on the street corner, which frankly I'm not entirely sure I want to go into the whys and wherefores of that. But so this is going to be a little bit of a different show for some of our others recently. We are taking another little break from doing the Army book reviews. Those will be back starting next week. As I've mentioned before, we were having a little trouble drumming up some guests. So next week we will be covering Wood Elves. But tonight we wanted to delve into a couple of other topics that have come up through the week and just kind of chat. So if you guys are watching and you want to leave comments and stuff, we're just going to kind of chat about some stuff. So first things first, though, the elephant in the room, the reason Skip was weeping in the closet for all of last week and couldn't join us, and also seems to be spreading through the community. And I think that the term I'm going to use for this as we discuss it is gamer fatigue. So why don't we go ahead and start off with letting Skip tell us a little bit about sort of what has been going through his mind recently as far as the game goes, and we'll just kind of chat about it.
Well, to begin with, because of life, and life happens, I'm not going to be able to go to Brawlers like I planned on it. So that kind of kicked the ball off a little bit. But when all this rumors and all the hubbub and everybody kind of bitching and complaining already about what could be coming up in ninth, and all the videos that I've watched, it just kind of, just added fuel to my burning Bretonia fire, I guess you should say. Since Bretonia has been burned in all the Times books, it was like burning my soul as well. But I just kind of got burnt out on everything. I'm just getting to the point where I'm starting to understand 8th edition, and now we're at a point where we might be making major changes, and it just got just a little too much for me to take. I've been really working on learning one army, and I think when I first jumped into it, I went, oh yeah, I want this army. Oh, this army is going to be great. And then I play it once or twice and get my ass kicked, and then I lose interest. And then I go back to Bretonia because that's my love and joy. But all of this just seems in stuff, happening in life, and it just all kind of just fell on me in the last month. And that's where I started doing a little bit more of my frustration video and just trying to get everybody else's input to see if anybody was feeling the same way I was. Are you overwhelmed? Have you taken on too many armies? All that stuff just kind of put it in one pot and stirred up, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. So, I definitely can kind of agree with you. I've been fighting a little of that malaise myself, and I'm sure Michael has been none too pleased about the level of hate his beloved dwarves have been catching. So, what I kind of want to talk about, because it doesn't seem like it's just us, or even just for this reason. I think to us, strangely enough, a lot of our malaise is coming from, in addition to just sort of the struggles to you guys learning the armies and stuff, but I think a lot of it is coming from the treatment of the fluff in these end times books, and which makes sense for us. But the thing I thought was very interesting was the videos that like Anthony from the Sustainable Center was putting out, where you're seeing that the mechanic competitive side folks are getting sort of this frustration and malaise too. I mean, you got Nick from Long Island Wargaming. I mean, he put up his first battle in God knows how long. I don't remember how long it was. And his whole reason is he feels burned out with everything that's going on. And then Anthony's talking about he feels frustrated with eighth and the problems there. So it generally seems like, I don't know whether it's something wrong with the game at the moment or just the community, maybe the negativity feeding on itself. So, that being said, that was an ultra-long prologue to what I'm going to say. I don't want us to focus on tonight. What I want to kind of discuss is ways that we all have kind of engaged this gamer fatigue, and what do you think has helped us to get over it or to engage with it and deal with it. So, what do you guys think?
Well, me, I just went back to playing the army that I love in Bretonnia and getting back into getting excited about painting peasants again, and just focusing on that, because that's really what has hooked me into Warhammer is Bretonnia. As much as it's getting pummeled, I still love it. And to follow up on that, I think a lot of the negativity, and I don't know about you guys, but a lot of why I got into role playing and gaming in general is the world outside sucks. I want to be in a world where, not all the time, but I like to see the good guys win, and with the end of the times, they're not. And I think I wanted to add that to my rant earlier, and I forgot. But I think, getting back to an army that I feel is the epitome of goodness, for the most part, is Bretonnia the way it used to be. It's knights, it's valiant, it's chivalry, it's that. And I think me getting back into that has, I don't know, flushed my system out maybe? I don't know. But that's kind of how I'm handling it.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Michael? How have you been handling things?
You see, Skip's going at this a way too proactive way. No, you gotta do like I did. Just switch to delusional thoughts and heavy drinking.
That's the dwarven way!
Denial and heavy drinking. That's what you do. God damn it.
Just for the record, the opinions expressed by Michael do not necessarily reflect this channel.
This thing is just killing me right now.
Just in case you guys are getting like Blair Witch Trial shaky cam off Michael, I gotta go ahead and tell on him today. He took his computer to work with him because he wanted to goof off during his lunch break on it, and then left it there. So he's joining us via his cell phone tonight. So if everybody could take a moment in the comments and give him a hard time for that, that would be awesome.
Oh, I get a hard time just for playing the dwarves.
Well, yes, but at least now this is a hard time for something you've done that you deserve. So.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I try and spread the love. Hey, I even told people to go over to Skip's channel and give him a little thumbs up and a little encouragement with his negativity. And at least one person did. I saw, was it the Peacemaker 848? He's actually going to be our guest next week, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's going, yeah. But
so,
to actually answer, I'm going to skip on it. It's getting back to just basically ignoring Nagash and going, you know what? Games Workshop can go 9th edition and get rid of my army all the hell they want, but they can't get rid of 8th edition. It's already out. It's already printed. I'll play 8th edition. Hell, if I want to go back and play 7th edition.
Yeah. Not that I would recommend that, but...
Yeah, I like 7th edition dwarves. Our Anvil was freaking amazing.
Right.
But, yeah,
I thought you meant 7th edition rules. I was like, I would recommend that.
I just meant 7th edition dwarves. We were in our we were in our prime. But yeah, no, just getting back to
the we'll have to talk if you want to bring back that 7th edition rulebook.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I've actually taken a different tactic to kind of deal with the dark creepies. I've actually been delving more into the other side of the hobby. I have been focusing a lot more on my painting, on the man-eater conversions that we're doing, and I'm actually in the planning stages for my next big project. Yes, you all heard it here, even though it was thought never to happen. I am going to be starting a new army in the next week or so. I know I said in the past that my wife said I couldn't have any armies. Well, I told her firmly and with great confidence that I am the man of this house and I'll have any number of armies that I damn well please. So after a couple of days of sleeping on the couch, I begged her forgiveness.
We need
I
to start
begged her
looking
forgiveness.
No.
and we had a good weekend where I didn't actually have to work, and here she is lording over me. I knew that would come out of her studio. But no, so we talked about it, and I think to get just another different painting challenge, I'm going to be giving the Lizard Men a go. And I'm really planning on going all out with this. I don't know how long it's going to take to get them ready and playable. I mean, hell, I've been working for a week just to pick the colors that I want for my color scheme. We're also looking, I'm going to do the whole thing basing, which I don't ever usually do because in most cases I don't really like the way base models look, but we're going to go with something subtle that should work. But so I think I've been delving into that side of things more. It's like the game and the fluff is a scary place right now, but painting and putting together models and conversions will always have a certain amount of joy in it for me. So I've been embracing that side of things to hold off the dark thoughts and not have to resort to drinking, apparently. So now that we've told everybody how we've been trying, how have our steps been working? How are you? I mean, do you guys feel, when we sort of talked about this last week when Skip was going through most of the dark part of it, do you guys feel like you're any more positive about what's going on now than you were then?
Well, I'm a dwarf and I'm never positive about anything, so I'm less negative.
We'll accept that. That's a fine answer. How about you, Skip?
I actually picked up the brush and started painting again, so that's a good sign for me. I painted 3 peasants.
Woot woot. So that brings you up to what, 84?
84.
Nice. That was a totally random guess. That was pretty awesome, actually.
You hit it. Yep. I just counted them today.
Nice.
I just imagine Skip in a room just plopping peasants into a little coffer, and he's like, 20, 21.
Really? I was getting like a flash of that cartoon DuckTales where he's like diving into a vault filled with them and swimming around in it.
Yes. That would be amazing.
As far as I am, I definitely think I'm more positive in certain aspects. As I said in my last rant, which I'm not going to repeat in this week, Thanquil broke me as far as the fluff of the end times goes. I have not been able to muster any more care or regard for it in the last week. I think the crazy zaniness and excessive nature of it has just topped me off, and I don't have any more room for it yet. Maybe by March, which I guess is when they say Archeon's going to be coming out, I'll be ready for some more, but not yet. I'm still bruised. But as far as in general, I don't find myself focusing on the negatives of Ninth will be what. I mean, all of that stuff. I'm definitely, by focusing more on the models themselves, I'm definitely paying less attention to that sort of stuff. So, let's go ahead and deal with some As Vince is his keyboard must be on fire as soon as these shows start because it's like 50 comments. So, first of all, Michael, to you, he says, denial on heavy drinking, and we wonder why the dwarves are a doomed race.
That's not why. Because of our stubby legs.
Right. And apparently, Vince also supports you getting excited about painting peasants.
I love peasants.
And he is excited to see the Lizzies like demons. They're a fantastic modeling opportunity, great colors, great options, bases, etc. And he asked if I saw the army on the PMP that Paul posted. Amazing color and base work. I did. I think he did some great work with the monochrome looking skinks, and it's actually, I think that model he has is the one I want for my skink priest. But I'm actually going to go all the way the other way. I'm planning on just like bright explosive colors. Right now I'm leaning towards orange, my primary color. That'll be kind of ribbon through the whole army, and like it'll be present in some fashion in every model. And with the skinks being like mostly orange, and I'm thinking blues complement it, but it's definitely going to be a lot more bright and in your face than anything else I've done. Even the Empire, which is strange because I think my Empire fellas are still kind of subdued because I didn't really go all the way up to 11 on the saturation. They're colorful, they're just not cranked up. These guys are going to be cranked up. Like if I can actually get them to glow in the dark, that might be what I'm aiming for.
Wow.
That would be awesome.
Like I want to point my camera at it and have the camera just say, "Oh fuck no."
So basically, you want to put Hawaiian shirts on them all. Okay, got it.
No, I want the entire board to look like a Hawaiian shirt once I've got them spread out. Because it'll be like the green base and then just all these bright, flashy splashes of color. That's what I'm hoping for. And I'm looking to do the basing. Like the basing thing is really where I'm super duper weak. In part because in general I don't like cluttered bases. I mean maybe it's the old school or me. I like plain bases with maybe some flock sand or something on them. But I'm actually going to go all the way on this one and base every model and hopefully kind of go. It may be just kind of a basic GW style basing for their like lustrian undergrowth and the washes and some static grass, just stuff like that. But definitely more work in learning how to do that with any skill than I've put into any of the basing before. So, but yeah, that got us totally distracted. So, next topic, if you guys think we're done with sort of dealing with our coping mechanisms.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So next topic is Brawlers Bash. As Skip indicated, we do have some good news and some bad news this week. The bad news, obviously, is Skip has had his work schedule conflict, and so he is not going to be able to come with us. So Michael and I will be representing the show by ourselves in the dark and terrifying realm of the heavily competitive players. But that being said, the good news is a gauntlet that I threw down several weeks ago has been picked up. I have declared a grudge match, a epic struggle between the fluffy and the crunchy. In fact, I will be facing in the first game of Brawlers Bash the Godfather himself, Once Bitten 360, has accepted my challenge. So, no doubt he is going to show me a new definition of pain and suffering as my army is slowly digested over the next 1,000 years. But I've looked up to him for a long time, and he is such a different player from the way I play. I'm really looking forward to going and getting my tail handed to me and maybe learning a thing or three. So I did want to announce that to everybody. I didn't want to do like some of the others have and did a video specifically to call him out, but it was something I definitely wanted to share because I'm super excited about getting to play him, even though I'm going to get my face crushed. So, Michael, since I've been chatting for a while, beyond those 2 points, why don't you kind of discuss with everybody what we've been doing to get ready and what you specifically are facing in your attempts to get prepared for the bash?
Oh, man. Well, besides I assume anybody that ever goes to a tournament has a bajillion prep games beforehand with the armor they're going to take. So, me and you have been doing that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
My struggle is, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad. I've spaced it out. If I can keep what I'm looking to upgrade my army to 50 models or less, I can get it done in the month period, which I know is a shocker because I've still got most of a high elf army and most of a beastman army not painted yet because I'm lazy and I'm so lazy.
Yeah. See, that's the real reason. I know you've been catching a lot of flack from the videos of only having like 20-man units. I think that's actually the real reason is he's trying to only play with what he's got painted. So I'm actually going to get into Vince's first question because it just fit better here. And he asked, how close do we think we are to our final lists? So I'll let you take that one first, Michael. What do you? How close are you?
I mean, fundamental standpoint on my list, I'm 100% there. I know what works with dwarves. I've been playing long enough. And anybody that watches a video, even my dwarves getting creamed, I know what they need to have there to win.
Mm-hmm. Now, how close are you to actually being able to put what they need to win on the table in front of you?
That's a lower number. Let's see, with the added 10, so that'll be 20 more Longbeards, 20 Iron Breakers, and an Organ Gun. It's another 40 models to the 60 already on the table. So I'm about 60% there.
Okay.
That's now that I say that is a staggering amount of work to have to be done.
Yes, it does. And just in case you were curious, you've only got like 3 more weeks before your final list has to be in, and and only 6 more weeks till the tournament itself, if that. So.
Well, that's why if I keep it under 50, I'm okay.
Yeah, you need to get your lazy dwarven butt in gear. As far as me, I've been like my models are all painted. Like I could bring 5,000 points to Brawlers if they'd let me. Maybe that's what it would take to win against Once Bitten. But my big problem is I'm still trying to find the balance between bringing a list hard enough where I'm not going to get instantly stomped by the end of turn 2, yet still bringing some of that fluff and fun that I want to play with. And I know Once Bitten actually commented on one of my most recent videos where he thought our lists were very fun, but he thought we were going to get very unpleasantly surprised by the lists we'll be facing at 0 comp. And what I told him, and this is my aim going into it, I want to have fun. I'm treating this entire weekend as a little vacation that's going to let me get in as many games of Warhammer as in one weekend as we get in a month. And ideally, I'm going to go to play against folks I've never played before. And if I can have a good time and present them with lists that they're unlikely to see anywhere else in the tournament, then I think I'm doing what I set out to do. Would I like to win a game or two? Absolutely. But do I expect to? Not in a million years. My only thought is maybe if I can get once bitten to beat me so bad, I spend the rest of the tournament at the bottom tables. Then I might have a chance to win a game or two.
We spoke about this, Josh. It'll be me and you at the bottom tables, and you'll just have to beat me there.
Right. And I can do that. I mean, you haven't had a prayer in any of the practice games we've held so far.
Oh, God, no. I just want to win one match against the Skaven. That's it.
Right.
Just so I can rub the thankful.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me, because we're actually getting into the second question that Vince asked, and I'd like to launch in that. He actually says, what armies or lists do you hope to see on the other side of the table, and what would you like to avoid for Brawlers Bash? So continue your thoughts. So that'll be our second question.
I want to see the Skaven across the board, just because of the Thankful Book. I want to see the Skaven across the board. I then want to proceed to doing nothing but annihilating their entire army without a single dwarf casualty.
Yeah, considering that they're very likely going to allow Storm Fiends, I wouldn't hold your breath for that.
That's what I don't want to see. Fucking rat Space Marines. Are you kidding me?
Right.
They're dreadnoughts from 40K.
Hey, come on. Remember, this is our show of positivity. Just push that negative out to the side. Do a little more drinking and denial, and we'll be in good shape.
I haven't read it yet. So
sure.
He is pretty much right, though, that they're like freaking Rat Ogre Space Marines. But,
yeah, I mean, and I'd be okay with Warhammer putting out that kind of model and doing all that, but don't make them look like Space Marines at least.
Well, anyway, I think for me, my hope is I want to play some of the armies that we don't have. I would love to face the Chaos Dwarves. I know there's at least a couple players going that have favored the Chaos Dwarves in the past. I'd like to see I'd like to see a Beastman army that uses all the shit you don't use. Because that's the stuff I like. No, I know I won't see a Beastman army because nobody's that suicidal. I'd like to see a Lizardmen army. I mean, I've only played our one tournament friend does Lizardmen, and I haven't played him in probably 6-7 months. They're a fun army to play against. I basically want to play stuff that I don't get a chance to play. That would be nice. Hell, I would even like to face another ogre army. I've never really brought my A game against another ogre army. So stuff like that. As far as what I would like to avoid for Brawlers Bash, I want to avoid net lists. I don't think that's going to happen, but last year we did the practice tournament for Brawlers Bash, and the only list that really gave me a hard time, and by gave me a hard time, I mean kicked my rear up between my ears, was pretty much your tried and true Demon Prince Nurgle Warriors of Chaos list. I mean, it's the list that everybody's seen 80,000 times in battle reports and stuff. I would like to avoid that. I'd like to see different things. I mean, hell, Lord Tremendous just did a video where he played a Warriors of Chaos guy who went with an entire Dragon Ogre army with Kolek Suneater, like the special character. I was like, dude, I would give money to play against that army. Something like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough, and I mean, he beat it, but I mean, it was still one of those, that army is freaking awesome. I just want to see something new. And that's the plus side, I think, of us going, because we were so insular in our play that pretty much anything we come across is going to be new and exciting. So I don't mind getting my tail kicked as long as it's not me getting my tail kicked by the same stuff that I play every week. So I don't know if that's what you were looking for, Vince, or whether you were hoping for some awesome tactical acumen and discuss of the armies themselves, but I remind you, you've come to the wrong channel for that. Apparently, Caleb seconds your death to the Skaven.
Thanks, Caleb. You're a good man.
I wouldn't mind going against Skaven either. It's been a while.
I mean, I'd like to get automatic hatred instead of having to roll that freaking die.
Actually, that's another one. I like to play Sea Orcs and Goblins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But,
I'm not playing them either.
Yeah, so I know Michael and I are planning to get in at least one more practice game each. I think what our plan was is that instead of playing each other's lists this time, we're each going to make a list from one of the other armies we have to kind of get some difference. I imagine I'd like to face his high elves and probably Empire or Vamp counts. I'll throw against you and see what happens.
I need something I need a base army to be able to see what I'm going to be able to normally look at.
I could bring the Hellebron.
God, if you bring Hellebron, I'm throwing your Dark Elf out the window.
Well, Hellebron's not. I don't think Hellebron's allowed this.
That's right. It was pretty much all of the special characters from High Elves and Dark Elves.
Yeah,
that's a good thing then. And
to be honest, Skip, I would rather you bring Britonia to test us and insult that's coming notwithstanding. I don't know that you play the Dark Elves well enough to really put us through our paces.
No, I don't.
And before everyone thinks, because after the last session, or after the last episode, I was accused, or it wasn't the last episode, I think it was the one before that, I was accused of being unnecessarily mean to Skip by my wife. So I do want to take this moment to let everyone know an amazing thing. Skip is on a 2-game winning streak with Britonia. He's doing well. We played a big, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but he had a great showing last night in our Triumph and Treachery game, and took home the gold. So congratulations, Skip. 2. Let's see if you can make it
3.
So all greatness starts somewhere, my friend. So. So I'm checking to see if we have any other comments about Brawlers at this point. Okay. Dark CT says he'll go in on it. Death to the Skaven as well. He can't wait to see how Brawlers Bash goes this year. Although he said he'd run Screaming from Elves. Perhaps, but I'll tell you, I don't know that I'm super worried, particularly about the Elf Legion, because like Michael mentioned, they pretty much banned all of the Elf special characters, and with the special rules for the different ways they're doing the legions, where you have to have one primary army and then you have to have more of that army than the second army. It's weird. I don't know how many folks are going to be using the legion stuff. But let's see. Caleb says one of his main opponents runs Skaven. He's going to be especially gleeful next game. Well, good luck to you, sir. Any of those dirty rat bastards you can bring down is awesome. So, So, number 3 item, and I'm sorry I keep looking over there like the baby's asleep in the next room, and the cat is making freaking noises here, and I'm going to skin her alive if she wakes the baby up, so I'm trying to get her to stop. You guys talk about something. I'm going to be back in just a second as I chase the cat out of the room.
I thought that was the elephant in the room, not the cat.
Skip, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to talk about, man. I'm freaking out right now.
We can't mention other than... No, I don't want to spoil it. It's going to be part of the battle report, so I'll mention it next week. Yeah. Okay.
Are you giving him a hard time again for that battle last night?
No, I was going to mention something, but then it'll be a spoiler, so I said I'll mention it next week. So
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, so third object that we wanted to mention before we get into what I can only assume is a crazy drunken ramble from MC1 Gamer, is we are at a point where we are ramping up to end our narrative campaign. At least the current one we're running. I have no doubt we are going to run another one shortly thereafter. But just to kind of give some thoughts as to why, because obviously they're very popular, and we're going to keep doing them. We just wanted to switch up. I think there is enough of the end times out now where we kind of know where their story is going. So we've kind of decided that it is time to ramp up our story and engage what we're engaging and see what sort of lasting changes our world of Warhammer is going to be. So we actually, for the first time since we've done this campaign, I sat down today and came up with some kind of general sort of plot points as to where we want to go, and we'll be filling them in with battle reports and stuff. But I'm thinking the points that we have, unless something goes totally off the rails and we have to put in another little subplot, should end in 3 months' time, 2 or 3 months' time or so, I'm assuming. But so that being the case, without giving too much away, kind of want to talk to you guys about some general thoughts. First of all, those who have hated Alphonius from day one will be happy to know that rather than destroying Bretonia, it seems that in our run of the end times, Bretonia is going to be a major facet of sort of the last major plot point and major battles between the forces of good and the forces of evil. So 2 questions. Question 1, what are Vegas odds that Bretonia survives in our version? Because we know it doesn't survive in the standard one. and 2, going into it, who do you think is stronger, the forces of the corrupted Bretonia or the Liberator Traderkin under Cartasia?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but there's going to be some certain other factions that will be joining one side or the other that may sway that one way or another.
And we already know that the Liberators have the Ogre tribe on their side. Mm-hmm. So we definitely know that there's some strength there, even if the Bretonians aren't the one bringing it.
All right.
I'm still keep dragging them today. So what do you think, Michael, as the outside observer? What are the Vegas odds that Bretonia survives?
Well, the nice thing is, instead of doing the whole, like, how in the end times is, per the books, all the good guys are idiots and can't seem to pull any alliances together like they've done a billion times before. What we're seeing with the Bretonians is the unifying of good races. I mean, of course, yeah, the ogres are neutral, but I'm going to go ahead and group them the good guys' side right now because that's who they're fighting for.
Yeah.
So you're seeing
And I think we could easily say, given how the story has gone so far, that at least in this narrative, the ogres have erred very much on the side of order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're seeing very much the good guys are not just being complete idiots and laying down and just like, yeah, go ahead and stab me. I'm dead anyways. So And with a couple other allies that I won't mention at this time, but I'm super excited about them joining. Uh, they'll have the meat they need to push forward.
All right. So that actually brings us into my next question that I had. We are looking at the point where armies will be uniting or potentially be eliminated, depending upon how the games are going. Our whole rule of not killing people off and making them unable to be in the campaign from this point on is basically being lifted for these last few months because we really want to see some shakeup. So, I know the first part will be obvious. What army do you think, or do you hope makes it to the end? And what army do you see? What's sort of your surprise button that either you want to see get killed off, or that would totally shake shit up if it did get killed off?
Well, if the ogres got killed off, I mean, that would be almost earth-shattering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they're kind of, you were joking, but I mean, they do have the punch that some of Bretonia is lacking on the good side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would definitely, swing towards the chaos side, I would think.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. They were going to be my answer too. With everything that the ogres have gone through and how many other people they've fought for and all of this, if they don't make it to the end, I think that would totally change the the layout of what we've assumed sort of the final closeout would be. And interestingly enough, the race I want to see survive to the end the most is actually going to be Michael's dwarves.
You have love for the dwarves?
I have love for Clan Odhine. I think they've gone through some crazy shit. And I want to see, kind of knowing what we've got planned, I want to see where the world changes from here on in. And that being the case, I guess I should have prefaced this before so that folks understand kind of why we're even bothering to discuss this. We have not done a huge amount of talking about the next campaign because it is in the early stages, but we are essentially using the events that are occurring in this campaign as a backdrop for what's going on. So if I mean, God forbid, if the dwarves blow themselves up in their mountain, then there's going to be issues in the next campaign. Ultimately, the idea is we're going to introduce new characters as new military forces, we think, but if the major events that are going to happen are going to be relatively recent history in terms of the next campaign. So really how this one plays out is going to have a big impact on what goes next, just in general terms. So that's kind of what I would like to see Clan Odheim manage to create sort of a dwarven power in the area, one that's not necessarily just hanging on the ass crack of the world was left them by the goblins and the Skaven. So
yeah, that'd be nice.
So those are my thoughts. I think that the ogres would probably be the most devastating if they were offed. And the dwarves are the ones I want to see at the end.
Let's see. I feel like as you see in Nagash and everything, too one-sided seems to be how it goes. I think the most devastating would be if Melisandre's demons were taken out.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you lose that whole corruption of Alphonius, you lose huge amounts of influence in the area, and Chaos's power just drops to a point where the good guys are like, oh, now we steamroll you.
Yep.
And that's the other negative, just having one of the major powers. You have the ogres drop, same thing happens. Bretonians drop, same thing happens. Dwarves, same thing happens. where you've got these influences of a power where one army just drops. That's so influential in the story, and there's a vacuum and nobody can really fill it.
Yeah, but I think that's ultimately what the fun of this next few months is going to be, is as these armies get just beat, seeing what happens as what leads to the ultimate fate of Britonia.
Well, yeah, but at the same rate, we've been doing this to a conclusion instead of the entire time we've just been knocking off army after army.
Excellent point.
And let's see, the army I want to see make it to the end. That's a tie. I want to see Tok'ra make it to the end, and I want to see Clan Odheim make it to the end, mainly because Tok'ra's story to me is, I mean, it's amazing. He goes through the whole transformation of, I'm just here to be a mercenary, and then his daughter becomes corrupted. He has to save his daughter, and you see him become. You see the ogres as more than just, I guess, ogres.
Yeah.
Going
Strangely enough, he would be the one if I was going to lose, if I knew I had to lose one of my major characters from here on in, I would be happiest to see Kron go down.
Really?
Because I think him giving his life in service of this greater purpose that he's found through this storyline would be a great sort of conclusion to that, to essentially put the proof in the pudding that not only is he going along with this in words, but the events that have happened to him have moved him so much away from sort of self-absorption to willingly being able to give his life for something other than himself. And if that's the way it works out, I will be super happy. Although I will tell you guys, if Tok'ra dies, the ogres are going to be absolutely different in the next campaign because it's going to be Chog leading them. So.
Oh no!
Oh wow.
But yeah, I think I could go with that depending upon how it went down. I mean, if he goes out like a punk and just gets crushed by a random stone thrown by Britonia or something, it might be lame.
That would just.
Well,
I could see the.
You know how my peasants get hit.
Yeah, tell me about it. I could see him going out like a hero, and I think it would be a great wrap up to his story.
Yeah.
Although it would then be kind of funny to watch a battle between Chog and the Noblars 3 for control of the White Tooth. That could be interesting for next campaign.
Noblars leading ogres. I told you from the very beginning, Noblars have been leading the ogres.
So what about you, Skip? What army do you think you would like to see make it to the end? I know you said it would be the ogres getting ousted would be your big WTF moment.
Mm-hmm. I just want to see how, and I haven't even thought of this yet, but I want to see how Alphonius reacts once, if and when he realizes he's been duped. Because right now he is still thinking that he's working for the lady and everything is the way it should be. How will he react once that veil has been lifted?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Will it be something that he'll to possess to redeem himself, or will he just say, embrace the evil, kind of like Anakin did?
Only if he ends. Only if he ends the campaign going no.
That's what I'm actually looking forward to. I don't know how I'm going to play that yet, so I think that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, eventually sitting down and making that decision on what's going to happen there. So I want him to stay around till I get to the point of that, to making that decision.
Okay. So, speaking of surprising and strange things happening in the narrative, let's go ahead and get into this because, oh boy. So normally MC1 Gamer sends in some questions for us to answer, but today, since we are dealing with the wrap up for the end of our campaign, I didn't even. All right. Apparently he sent so much that the window clipped it off, so I'm going to have to get some of these. We'll go through the first few, and then I'll hunt down the rest from my email. But he ended up sending quite a few. I hesitate to call them predictions. I guess, what did he call them? I don't want to misrepresent him because he is very, very focused on my word choice. He did call them predictions, although I think they were predictions made instead of a crystal ball through the bottle of a whiskey glass. So what I want to do is I want to lay out these predictions that MC1 Gamer has made for the end of our campaign, and I want us to talk about the possibility of it occurring and just what we think of that idea. So, number 1. He expects the Noblars to overtake the Skaven in population and take over most of the known world and all of its underworld. Surviving Skaven will serve as slaves to the Noblars, sometimes food, and often designing amazing engineering marvels. The fusion of the two races is the major antagonist for the next campaign. What do you guys think about that one?
Wow.
Well,
I would go ahead and say no Noblar needs a Skaven to make him engineer any engineering marvels. Have you seen the scrap launcher? That thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Is just so out of left field.
Well, it could be like that ogre. I can't remember the name of it, but it's being carried around on the
Grease's gold tooth.
Yeah, instead of the ogres carrying him around, there'll be a Noblar on there and a Skaven carrying him around.
Just a really fat Noblar.
Yep.
Right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rate this one at a 10% likelihood of occurrence. Does that sound about right to you fellas?
I'm a rate a 5% likelihood in Belagar's fine word. No Noblars in my keep.
All right. So number 2. Nagash will never rise, and as such, all ethereals will be affected by normal weapons. Vampires will crumble to dust, as they're too OP anyway. The seemingly endless quantity of Banners of the World Dragon will lose all magical powers after getting washed downstream from an ogre encampment, diluted by the high concentrations of ogre pee. He hears that stuff is stronger than simple green. I would like to go ahead and just clarify for those who haven't been following our narrative. As per our narrative, Nagash has been raised. We're actually at that after that point. Mm-hmm. So the ritual went off. Nagash is kind of puttering around the old world, but he's not at his power. And basically, our campaign right now is taken in between the point of Nagash coming back and the undead forces finding the Vault of Valia. That hasn't happened yet. So, in case anybody was curious where our time table was, we're still really early in the chronology as it's presented in the End Times books. But what do you guys think? What's the likelihood of us bending Nagash over and saying screw you and making the undead super weak?
My side, he ate a dwarf god, or I'll bend him over the table all day.
All right, so Michael, what do you say? An 85% likelihood we're going to push that button?
We're talking 97.
97% likelihood. Okay. What about you, Skip? What do you think our likelihood is on that one?
The first thing that was done to bring him back was to kill the Fey Enchantress. Yeah, that bastard needs to be... Yeah.
He
I
apparently
like the
Oh,
missed
boy.
the
Fey
wrong
Enchantress.
people.
I didn't like the king. I love the Fey Enchantress. She
Okay.
did nothing
Well,
to harm anybody. You know, she rode around on her nice little unicorn and had her chalice, and she looked gorgeous and beautiful and spread joy and happiness. And then of course she just dies.
so, because I frankly don't want to be murdered the next time that we're together, I'm not going to make a comment about the Nagash side of this. I will, however, say the only thing I will say about your second thing about the World Dragon banners, and we'll leave it at this because I want to be mysterious, is the elves will be dealt with. And we'll leave it at that. Number 3. And this one, I gotta say, when I read this, the man is trying, but he certainly does not understand you, Michael. That's all I've got to say. He says, number 3, the dwarves will single-handedly beat back chaos, but get tainted in the process, uniting all dwarves as official chaos dwarves. And they'll have innate save versus all magical effects of 5 up. The resulting backlash of joy will see Michael getting rushed to the hospital for hyper-powered muscle relaxers as a result of extreme smiling. Michael, would like to take a moment to explain to this poor man how he has you wrong?
The sheer beard of a dwarf is so repellent to chaos that is impossible. Taking in magic as a dwarf is impossible. Anything magical to do with the dwarves is impossible. Now, however, the killing of the chaos and everything, that's dwarven. But there's no dwarves don't do that kind of thing. It's not us. We fight and we kill, but we don't take on our enemies' powers.
Right. So, just in case you hadn't picked up on this quite yet, Mitch, Michael, as much as he loves dwarves, I would argue with an equal furor, hates chaos dwarves. So I think he would be more pissed off at them getting corrupted in chaos dwarves rather than just dying off.
Yeah. At least dying off with that cure.
As a side note, Vince likes the idea of Nagash puttering around as though he's retired and playing some golf. Which reminds me, didn't we... I don't remember where it came up. In one of the things, maybe it was a Panisode, we were discussing, like, Nagash having one of those plaid old man golfing hats somewhere. I'm pretty sure we had this conversation. But no, he is building up his power somewhere. We'll see if he actually gets into our story. But, okay, so now this is the one, number 4. And again, I don't know if this is him not knowing you very well, Skip, but I'm pretty damn sure there was alcohol involved by the end of this one. So, number 4. The Green Knight will enter his tent and find the Fey Enchantress in the steamy act of love with the elven deity that has been portraying herself as the lady. After but a moment of fury, he will accept the invitation to join in their now threesome, resulting in his ascension, becoming part of the triumvirate of Bretonnian gods that will launch them into a new age of power, overtaking the Empire as the focal point of humanity. Skip is also rushed to the hospital for the same reasons as Michael, and they share a double room for convenience. Skip will be heard endlessly mumbling to himself, "Grail Knights are ethereal now. Grail Knights are ethereal now." After which he cackles in maniacal fits of laughter, says something about Soylent Green being people, and passes out for a time. This repeats periodically throughout the day.
Where do I begin?
I want to begin with telling Mitch to go see some professional help for the alcohol poisoning he's taken for drinking this.
Yeah, man. Even the dwarves, that's not a good thing to do.
Okay, first of all, kudos for mentioning the Fey Enchantress. Thank you. Secondly, even though she's dead, I hate Hex Race so much. I wouldn't want Grail Knights to become them. You know, I hate them I hate them almost as much as I hate ogres sometimes.
Yeah. Not
So
that would stop him from using them if they happen to be in his army book.
Yeah, but that would actually Grail Knights actually could do something. So, you know, and maybe survive a little bit more, but no. No.
Oh, that's funny. Caleb
No.
says Mitch needs a date badly. I think he's married, so I don't know if that really would help his life much, getting a random date. Um, I'm not gonna comment. I think he just needs to put the snifter of brandy down because he's had too much. Now I'll have to say the interesting point, and this is something I want to pull out and actually talk about. I think so far in our campaign, Bretonia has been the center for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I've played the Empire, but let's face it, the Empire in this campaign has been bit players at best. They've been, other than the whole trial at Longingsbrook, they've just been running around the forest playing with beastmen for the whole campaign. So, yeah, so I don't I don't really see that there needs to be more of a focus on Bretonia as the central facet of humanity. I think they've already accomplished that.
I still think we should focus the very end battle at Longsbrook.
Yeah,
with the two
because
balls.
yeah.
Yeah, I did come up with that last night. We were talking about how the thing would go. We were talking about the end battle being at Loningsbrook, and I was like, I've got to write this scene where, like, as the arrayed armies of chaos surround the city, one veteran halberdier is just like, "Damn it!" And his rookie partner says, "What is it?" And his response is, "I'm 2 days from retirement." But I don't know. I think all of these thoughts from Mitch is chasing away our viewers. Our viewers are starting to drop. We didn't write these. Just go yell at MC1 Gamer. So number 5, he says, a dark elf, a high elf, and a wood elf enter a bar. When they leave, there are 3 distinct and individual armies once again. No explanation is given, nor is needed. I will again just say the elves will be dealt with. And then here he goes back into Crazy Town again. I can't believe I'm going to read this. Number 6, ogres enter the maw and are gone for a short time, but they return again, but they're now all the size of giants. They fit on 50 mils each and have all the cunning and power of the most predominant minds of any known race, but now they shit gold and crap thunder. I'm not sure the difference there. What is it, golden thunder? Yeah. Their new queen has an advisor who's a Noblar who guides the queen in their path to become the most powerful race in the known world. Secretly, this Noblar is a conspirator who is working for the new Noblar power that is growing in the underworld. But when this revelation comes out in the new campaign, he'll have turned for the love of the giant queen and stay with her as her lover. Rumor has it he's seriously packing some manhood. But few are brave enough to even whisper what everyone is thinking about this union. All right, Mitch. Just man to man, you and me. Get help. Just go. Put the computer down right now and go get help. Yeah, I don't think this is likely to happen at all. No. I don't know that the 3 of us could ever have a diseased enough mind to make this happen. So we're just gonna skip it.
I don't think I could give you 50 mil ogres.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No.
Okay. I wouldn't want them anyway. As much trouble as I have moving the normal ogres around. So 7. Beastmen take over chaos. All chaos. Chaos is now all about beastmen. The chaos gods still exist, but they grew tired of all other forms of minions and now focus only on beastmen. All beastmen are marked with the gifts of the chaos gods. Michael has to be shocked back to life after he read lines.
I'm not completely against that idea.
I am. I just painted up a bunch of warriors, and I have a demon army. Asshole.
They could be the sidekicks.
Aw, not even cool.
Hey, the beastmen have been sidekicks forever.
Yeah,
Michael, I got it. I've got it. It's all going to come down to the 2 armies that don't have new books. You and me. That's
everybody else gets beat off. It's just the Bretonians and the beastmen. Awesome. I want that.
That would be really funny.
And we'll just bring the worst mods.
That would be like going to a baseball game where all the players die and the Bat Boys have to go and play.
But all we do is, like, he just takes nothing but peasants, and I take nothing but Ungors.
Dude, with the way your Ungors work, that would totally be unfair. You'd table him by the bottom of turn 2.
That's true.
I
I have the Rambo Ungors.
Yeah, your Ungors can bite me.
They're amazing.
Wait, so, Dark CT, we've been giving Mitch a lot of hard time for this, but apparently Dark CT approves, so it's all good, I guess. He says, cheers to Mitch. This is an amazing series of predictions. He's really enjoying these. Lilith, the Green Knight, the Fey Enchantress, and the bottle of the best elven drink. Not Bugman Septuple X. It's too much for him. Unless Lilith claims her god's constitution anyway. Wait, check Mitch for Dwarven Tier booze. This is all awesome. All we're missing is an Adeptus Satorius ship crash landing, Meltus, and some Blood Bowl. So, I promised that we would get through all that because there is actually a serious question from Vince regarding all this, and I wanted to get through all of that before we touch this one. And his question is, do you already have plans for the works for your next narrative campaign? If yes, are there any major changes to how you're attacking it? As far as structure, I don't think so. I think we're pretty happy doing it the way we're doing it now. One thing I would like to see a little different is a little bit more sort of organizations to win armies kind of enter, so it makes a little more sense. I think the way we had just been doing it is as soon as somebody is painted or not painted in Michael's case and ready to play, we've been just tossing them in. So I would like a little bit more control there. What about you guys? Any thoughts or on sort of how to set up the next narrative campaign, or any things you'd like to see in it?
I think on my end, I'm going to pick just one or two and just stick with that for a while. Because, one, it's easier to write stories for us, and I know what I'm dealing with. And two, it's easier for me to play and actually make it competitive and make it fun for everybody to watch, too. So that's kind of the way I'm approaching it.
So just kind of bring the scale down a little bit?
Bringing the scale down a little bit. But I'm going to have Bretonia. I know that's what I'm going to do. I haven't really 100% decided on the second army, but I'm actually going to tour around with new characters and some new concepts, and I even mentioned this on the P&P. I'm actually thinking about putting together some questing nights and trying them. So it's going to be a different feel to the way I do Bretonia.
All right, I'm going to swallow down the mean comment and just take that without without comment. What about you, Michael?
I'd like to see, instead of having the special characters that are already in existence with each book, I mean, we can keep the same style lines and everything for them, but having new characters step in those roles. As within times, certain characters are dying. Somebody has to fill those shoes. So, as per how our narrative goes, we should have characters that step up, like Alphonius did, and step into the role of the king.
Mm-hmm.
Or step into the Ogre King role. Something like that, where we've got special characters that step up and go, hey, now we're a bigger impact into the storyline.
So I find it interesting. Skip wants to downplay the like simplify things. You want to complicate them.
Of course I do. I'm a dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll need testing.
Yeah. For me, the only thing I would like to see a little bit more of, I was, and I don't think the guys will disagree with me on this one, I was the primary driving force for this campaign through most of it. I think that's why we got to see so much in the way of the ogres, because I was the one writing the intros. I would like to see it balance out a little more, and give everybody a chance to be kind of a mover or shaker. I'd also like my lizardmen to be involved, so we'll see. Maybe that'll be my primary army. I don't know. It'll depend on how much I get done before we're ready to start it, I suppose. But that's kind of my only other change I would see in terms of what's going on. But I definitely want, because I've been playing the ogres so much, I mean, I love them to death, but I would like them to take more of an assistant role than a lead role in the next campaign, and maybe pick another one of my armies to be my primary.
I'd like, and I think I believe it was Anthony, Sustainable Center, who was trying this, was with his Bretonnia army, he was going through and setting up battles to earn each of the virtues. And I think depending on how it goes with Bretonnia, if we are rebuilding the whole genre of the lady, I think I may incorporate that a little bit as to some of my knights are trying to gain those virtues instead of just immediately putting it on there.
Huh.
You know?
That could be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that would bring about bringing in some, even though they suck, the questing knights, because that's what they're seeking. They're seeking, something else, and then maybe one of them would step up with the virtue, and then and so forth and so on.
Now, what could be kind of cool too is maybe we all take sort of a page out of that and start with really low value stuff, and do it as essentially the different armies having to go out and find the sources of their power, their magic items, their wizard lores, their in the ogres' names, the big names, stuff like that. Because it could be interesting, because most of this campaign we've been at like the 2,200 point, 2,400 point, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind of interested in maybe starting things off at like the 1,000 point or the 1,200 point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing some of that sort of, hey, we're out to kind of rebuild. That's actually a great idea, Skip. We may have to chat more about that one off camera. And
my other thought is, even with in my case with the peasants, working the peasants up to their next step will be the mounted yeomen, because they are the next step up for the peasants, and then from that point up to being a battle pilgrim. They actually carry around the reliquary.
I want Alphodius to die just so the reliquaries of him. There's somebody hauling around Alphodius's bones.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, Vince, I think that's what we're aiming for. Now, anything else you guys want to say on this? Because Vince's last question is not really connected to this, so I don't want to go into it before we're done on this topic.
I think if we talk about it anymore, we may give stuff away that we've kind of already discussed.
Okay.
So I think we're at a good. I think we've stirred the pot a little bit.
Okay, cool. Hopefully, it was at least entertaining to see in the minds of how we think about this crap. Mm-hmm. So Vince's last question. He says, imagine if, as some of the rumors mentioned, the default for Warhammer returns to something close to 4th or 5th edition in terms of army size and construction. For example, much smaller forces where a large brick of troops would be 20 to 30, and many blocks can be 10 to 20 at the 2,000 so point level. This would lower the barrier of entry, but of course it would mean that we all have giant armies by those standards. Is this a good thing in your opinion or not?
Yeah. I think it, not only business-wise, I mean, they can cut them back down to selling 5-man bricks, which I don't want them to do, but business-wise it makes sense for them to be able to do that. And it would allow for not needing to put a billion models on the board and then take 2 hours to clean it.
Yeah. I mean, God knows, and I'll go ahead and say this for our game last night. I won't give anything away, but by God, we played forever. We didn't even make it through 6 turns. You guys came over to the house at what, 7?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We probably didn't start getting. After deployment and everything, we probably started at 8:30. I think we wrapped up a little after 1.
Thereabouts.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Oh Jesus! Sorry to send you
That's
into
right.
yet more marital bliss. Uh, so yeah, I think to a certain degree having those smaller troops could make the games run considerably less time, which would be good. I do have to say though, like some of the forces look really good arrayed in giant bricks. Like my Ostermark halberdiers.
Mhm.
Like there's just
Yeah.
something about a big old brick of 30 halberdiers that looks cool and imposing.
Well, I mean, still at that size level, I mean, he was talking big bricks being 20 to 30. It's not as though you have to get rid of them.
Yeah.
I
My
just
question
got
is,
100 peasants.
well, that just means that you can have 10 units of 10.
Yes.
A lot of peasants.
That is a lot of peasants. My only thought, and this is a purely selfish one, is how would something like the ogres translate into that size? Would 3 ogres be the average? Which, I mean, I guess is not terrible, but it would basically, unless they change the way ranks work, it means ogres would never have ranks ever unless you were putting half your army in a single unit, which, if you believe some folks, that's what ogre players should do anyway.
But that would just be a standard, a champion, and a musician. Really?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'd have nothing but command troops. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm all about the idea of folks getting into the game easier. I don't know that it's a terrible idea. Like, I personally think the average of a unit should be about 20.
Yeah.
I think 20 men in a unit, I mean, because that's back when I first started playing, that's what it was. I mean, hell, if you've watched our battle reports, I think we kind of still default to that thinking in most cases. And then one of us brings a horde, and that's the end
And
of that.
everything goes to hell.
Right. But I mean, in honesty, I mean, just the way the ogres work, you'd have to very much, like, rework the ogres.
Yeah.
Because I think they're designed with the idea that they're going to be dealing with 30-man units. And maybe reducing the ogre size, that'll help. Maybe it'll all fix itself, I don't know. I'm not a game designer, so... Why are you asking us this question, Vince? You are a game designer. You figure it out.
Do the math, man. Do the math.
I don't know. I could see it going both ways. It could be a good thing, it could not. Would it really change the way we play much? Maybe. Sorry to be completely non-committal in the answer to that one, but... So, let's go ahead. I'm going to check the comments one more time. And... Come on. Vince says it was Ant, Smitten, and Malorian did a Bretonia campaign that you're thinking of, Skip.
That's what it was. Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And he says he loves that idea. He thinks it's awesome not only to see the story evolve, but to see the armies actually earn their virtues, lores, items, etc., and forge themselves into greatness. You know what? I'm willing to put that on paper. Let's do that, fellas. Let's.
Yeah.
That sounds like a.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, why don't we incorporate some of the Blood in the Badlands with like units of renown or something like that, which is something I did enjoy from that supplement.
That could be fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little wary about adding more mechanics into things, but you know what? It'd be worthwhile. The other plus side is that, I mean, if we start with those low point values, that could theoretically let me get my lizard men on the field faster. I mean, if I don't start off with a Slann, like maybe that would be the first thing. Like just limit ourselves to no Lord choices early on,
I'd be cool with that.
and
I'm cool with
basically have to unlock your Lord choices. That could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have to sit down and talk about how we actually make it work. Because I think there are certain armies you could easily go, oh, we're gonna just this person now becomes like levels up to being a lord. Unfortunately, with like the lizard men, it's not like no matter how awesome my Saurus Old Blood is going to be, he'll never grow up to be a Slann. Or Old Blood, is it Scarvet? See, I don't even have my book
No,
yet.
it's Scarvet and then no.
Is it Old Blood or Scar? Well, I'll have my book here in the next
couple
couple
Old Blood.
days. I'll have my book here in the next couple days. We'll find out. It's not like I'm actually planning on using Saurus characters anyway. All my characters are going to be skinks other than the Slann, so that I'm actually serious about that. I've got the 2,000 point list put together. I don't have any room for Saurus characters. I've got skink characters all in it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know. What is it with me and these small freaking races? I mean, several people have asked that lately. I'm just... I don't know. We'll see. It'll be terrible, I'm sure, but I'll have a good time doing it and painting it and making it look pretty. So... Oh, goodness. All right. I think that is the end for our comments. Wanted to thank everybody who has been giving us stuff to talk about. And... everybody who's watched us this far, I mean, we basically spent the last hour and a half talking about how we play our game, and you guys have found that interesting or entertaining, so thank you for that. Any last-minute thoughts out of you two fellas?
Go Dwarves.
Peasants are people too.
Only by the strictest definition of the world. Nothing but scorn for the lowborn. But so next week we are going to go ahead and do Wood Elves as our topic for next week. We're going to have the Peacemaker. I hope I'm getting the numbers right. 848 to come chat with us. That being said, we still need folks who can rep the Orcs and Goblins, specifically the Lizardmen. I'd love to have a chance to talk to somebody who knows how to play the damn things before I get too deep into them. And who else are we missing? That can't be it, because we had...
No, we're supposed to Skaven.
We did Skaven. We had Skaven and AZ. Jesus. This is... Yeah, we still need a Beastman talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get 23 episodes in and we just forget what we're doing. That's the problem. So if you guys consider yourselves experts or at least willing to talk for an hour and a half on one of the armies we haven't done yet, please get up with me at joshlmerritt@gmail.com. And we'll chat about it, kind of schedule things, because we do want to eventually finish this whole Army a Show series at some point in the near future. But all in all, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye, everybody.